Hi, my name is Alex Verpas, and today I just did my new student dialogue about socioeconomic status. It was actually a lot more interesting than I thought it would be. I thought it was just going to be boring 2 hours, just some group discussion, but it was. They made it interactive. They gave us first. They separated us into three different classes by counting off. So the ones were lower class, twos were middle class, and threes were upper class. I was in upper class, which was awesome. Got paid $20. Middle class got paid $10, and lower class got paid $5. So that was nice. We also started out with more money, and that was cool. So throughout the dialogue, there were different opportunities that you could make money by like answering questions, or just by being singled out for like having a cat or a dog. But in those cases, you'd have to pay money. And also, there were different occurrences that would cause you to have to pay money. Like, for instance, one of the things was if you were lower class, you didn't have flood insurance, so you had to pay $50 when Hurricane Sandy hit. And then if you were middle class, you had to pay $20 because you had partial insurance. But people in the upper class, we didn't have to pay anything because we had good flood insurance, which was also awesome because we didn't have to pay anything. And so the idea of this dialogue was to show us that how to kind of show us the different expenditures that you have to expect in real life, like paying for groceries and paying for health care and just basic bills that we don't really think about. Well, a lot of us don't think about in college just because we are still dependent on our parents. But yeah, that's the idea of it. So stuff like, yeah, groceries, stuff like that. Um, the idea of this dialogue was also to show how uncertainty and occurrences like getting swine flu can just pop up and can how they cost a lot of money, and how they kind of affect people in the. I guess the idea was to show that if they affect people in the lower classes more, um, and they did this just by singling out some people to get swine flu based on if you had socks or shorts on. So people without socks and people with shorts on both got swine flu for some just like random way of choosing who would get swine flu. Um, and this kind of, I guess, demonstrated how people in the lower class had, I guess, a tougher time paying for it just because it takes up a larger chunk of their money, and also the other things, how they would take up, they would be, greater percent of the money for people in the lower class, just showing how every single dollar is more valuable for people who are lower class because they have less money. So each one's worth more. Um, yeah. So that was kind of the basic idea of this new student dialogue. Um, I liked how they made it interactive. Um, like I said earlier, I kind of thought it was going to be really boring, just like them talking to us or us having like a discussion, I guess. But the way they gave us the fake money and kind of made it like the game of life, kind of made it more interesting and kind of gave it that real world perspective that I guess helps us to understand the idea that is trying to be conveyed. So in that sense, I think it was more successful in doing that. I've heard a lot of the other ones are kind of boring. You don't really do anything interactive like we did in this one. So that was nice how it was like that, how it was interactive, and how we get to participate and see how kind of how the real world is, how paying the bills and real world expenditures can add up, and I guess how they disproportionately affect, or not disproportionately, but have greater impact on people in the lower class because they have to worry about that more than people in the upper class do. Um, Also, one of the other things that they did in the dialogue was to randomly select groups of people to have to pay money just because of certain features that they had, like people with blue eyes. That was one example. Just, I guess, to give an example of discrimination. Um, I guess because that happens in the real world, they wanted us to see that, see how discrimination happens in the real world and how it can affect anybody, not just groups that you would traditionally think of as being discriminated against. So that's my opinion of the new student dialogue on socioeconomic status. So thank you. Thanks for watching my blog.